Oh, look at this run. What a run. Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
Welcome back to In the Trenches, everybody. I'm your host, Will Ortner. This podcast is a part of the Scout GM Network. Today on the pod, we have Chaz McKenzie. He's a regional scout right now with the Denver Broncos. Chaz and I played together at Central, so we talk a little bit about that. Then we go into how he got into the NFL, working as a scout for the Denver Broncos. So he started out as an intern, and then he worked his way all the way to now. He has 13 states that he goes and scouts multiple players from multiple colleges at. Chaz is the best. He's funny. He's a great dude. And, you know, he's really hardworking. So he goes into a little bit of his mindset on that and how he got to where he is. I love the interview. You're going to love it too. Speaking of things that I love Black Label. I've got Pure Power. It's absolutely fantastic. I've been using it now for about a month and a half or so. Every time I go into the gym, my numbers just seem to keep going up and up and up. At the end of the month, I'm going to go and see if I can beat my 18 rep PR at 225 on the bench, hopefully get into the 20s there. Love Black Label. Been drinking their protein shakes, their pre-hustle, their post-hustle. They've been fantastic. Love what they're doing over there. And you will too. And you're going to love the PRs that you're going to hit. Remember, grind, hustle, win, repeat with Black Label. Thank you to Black Label again for sponsoring this. Now let's get into the interview with Chaz. All right, I'm here with Chaz McKenzie, the Northeast scout for the Denver Broncos. Did I get that correct?
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah. Chaz, thank you so much for joining me here on In the Trenches, a Couch GM podcast. Chaz, I want to start off kind of getting into your story. You played high school football in Washington. You played at a couple different colleges. Can you explain kind of your background as a player, the position you played, and the couple different colleges you played at?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me, Will. You know, I've been looking forward to this, and I'm glad we found the time to get this done. But just a little bit of my background. Like you said, grew up in Washington, went to Todd Beamer High School. Actually grew up a baseball player. You know, that was my first love. That's what I thought my whole life was going to be about. Started playing football, middle school, 7th, 8th grade, just for fun. You know, at that age, like that's what it was. You're on the field too. You didn't know what you were doing. You're just out there with the boys, having fun and everything. So going into high school, didn't play football my freshman year. Just wanted to focus on baseball. You know, sophomore year comes, and then all my friends are playing again. You know, I kind of missed it a little bit and being with all them out there, so decided to play. You know, once I started going through high school football and everything, you start knowing what you're doing out on the field, all that kind of stuff. I found like a new love for it. You know, it kind of just started taking over. So coming out of high school, though, didn't have many big time offers. Again, I was more focused on baseball just because that was what I grew up doing and everything. And, you know, but I still wanted to play football at the same time. So I started looking in, you know, potentially maybe I can play both sports in college and everything. So not highly recruited, you know, so I got some interest from some D2 schools for football and everything, and then D3 schools for football and baseball. So kind of started exploring that a little bit. In the Linfield College, they offered me a position for football. At the same time, I was talking to them for baseball as well, you know, had some interest there. So I thought that was a perfect fit. Go there for football and try to make baseball work as well. Get down to Linfield, great school, great program. But I was only there for one semester, you know, and it just, you know, just a lot happened down there in that one semester for me. Just culture shock at first, you know.
Right.
Nothing, no disrespect to Linfield at all. It's a great program, like I said, great school. It just wasn't the right fit for me.
Right.
You know, football wise, great program. Just the way the depth chart was looking, I didn't know how soon I could get on the field, that kind of thing. Also, when I was down there, I got very sick. You know, so I was in the hospital for a little bit, away from the team and everything. So just with all that going on, man, I just I felt like I wanted a fresh start somewhere else. You know, so I started looking for other schools and everything. And at that point, it was tough, but I was like, I just got to put baseball away, man. Like, you know, football is my love. That's what I want to continue doing. So I started reaching out to other schools strictly for football. Had some friends playing at Central Washington that I went to school with in high school. Christian Stafford, Marcus Schimmelfennig, you know, those guys. You know, so I was reaching out to them about playing at Central and everything. They were trying to get me there too. Started talking to the coaches over there. Coach Boyd was the main guy I was talking to, you know, and they said they would love to have me come over and everything. Just come on. I'm going to have to do the walk-on tryout, though, just to for the whole process and everything. I was like, cool, sounds great. So I transferred over there. That was in the January of 2016.
Gotcha.
So I'm out there. I'm training. The walk-on trial's not until right before spring ball, so about March. So I'm training the whole time up until then. Do the walk-on tryout and felt like I killed it, man. Like I went out there, I did exactly, had all the numbers I wanted to have. Felt like I did everything I could. After the tryout comes, though, I got cut from the tryout. So I'm
right.
Yeah, so I'm kind of sitting there like, damn, like, I came here for football. I thought they were interested in me. Now I'm cut. Like, what did I do? Did I make the wrong decision? All that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like I knew my abilities and I was really strong on that. And I knew I could play for the team. So after that, I just kept training, just knowing one day I would be out there and everything. And then spring ball comes around. I go out to watch a couple of the practices, and I see that they're short and on the depth chart in the DB room and everything. So I reached back out to Coach Boyd, like, hey, man, like, I see you guys are short at that position. Just let me come out for spring ball. I'll be an extra body for you guys, just to keep other guys healthy. And, if you don't like me after spring ball still, you can cut me again. And I still have the text saved, man. I emailed him that, and then he texted me the next morning. Said, Chaz, I appreciate your perseverance, man. Like, we'd love to have you come meet Coach Pika tomorrow morning. Perfect, man. So next morning, went and met Coach Pika, signed the paperwork, went out for spring ball. And, I just put it all out there, man. That's really what it was. Like, I just trusted my abilities. I knew I could be out there with those guys and everything. And, by the end of spring ball, like they offered me a spot on the team, forever grateful for that, just not giving up the perseverance and just trusting my abilities and what I can do. So then the 2017 season comes around, and that's when I have my first shoulder injury, so I took a medical redshirt that year, which was honestly at the time, it was good for me, just to adapt to the new team, adapt to the new culture, the one level up from where I was the year before and everything. Just, it was a good year for me. 2017 season comes around, and I make a spot on the roster on the travel team and everything, special teams mainly. And, that's a season I'll never forget. You were there too, man. It
was fun, man. It was a fun year.
Unbelievable season, man. Like going undefeated, going to the playoffs, man. It was insane. But it was really good. I had some great veterans ahead of me, taught me the game, and that's when I really started like picking up the mental side of the game. Coach Power at the time, he was our defensive coordinator, man. He was unbelievable, and he taught me a lot. 2018 season comes around, and one of my greatest accomplishments and something I'm very proud of to this day, before I was even put on scholarship, man, I got named team captain, voted by my teammates. So that's something like I hold tight to me. Just, it's something that means a lot to me, truly. And then I get the starting position that year. 2019 season, same story and everything, captain, starter, all conference and everything. And it just, I'm very proud of how my career turned out. Just considering, where I started and, not even knowing if I was going to play football at a young age and everything. And I felt like I got the most out of my ability. 2019 season, though, spring ball before that season is when I had my shoulder injury. It was a pretty bad injury, man. And, so I started going through the rehab process this summer. I go to the doctor and they're like, you need surgery. Okay, if I get surgery, am I going to miss the season? Like, this is kind of it for me, man. And he's like, well, you can play through it. It's going to hurt. You can get surgery after the season, so you got to weigh those options. And I was like, you know what, man, like, me, Will, like, so I was like, yeah, well, I'm going to go. Of course I am. So it was a tough season. My last season there, just a lot of pain, a lot of injuries throughout the year. I tore my calf during camp as well, fighting with the shoulder injury as well at the same time. Funny story too, middle of the season, right before the West Texas game, we had a Thursday practice. My shoulder brace breaks off.
That's right.
Yeah. So, this is a Thursday practice. We leave the next day. We don't have any extra shoulder braces, so they're telling me like, look, man, like you can try to play without it if you want. It's like, you see, again, me, man. I was like, yeah, of course. No problem. Yeah, I'm going to go. Of course. So we go down to West Texas, and then the second drive of the game, first play, shoulder pops out for the game. Yeah, popped out. So that's just the story of my season. There was a lot of battling just through a lot of adversity. But I felt like that was my whole career, just fighting against the odds and everything like that. And then after the season, it was tough too, just because I did have an extra year of eligibility. And then I went and got my surgery. And after I had the surgery, the doctor told me it was a lot worse than expected, you know,
Right.
and he advised me that, you know, it'd probably be better for my health long term just to put the pads down for now. You know, and it was tough for me because originally, you know, I talked to all my teammates, the coaches, everything. I told them I was coming back for one more season. You know, I gave my word for that, and the doctor tells me this, you know, so I just had a lot to think about, talk with my family and everything, you know, and we decided it was best for me just to put the pads down. I felt terrible, man. You know, I put you guys on the group chat and I sent you guys that long text and everything. You know, but at the same time, like it was a blessing for me, blessing in disguise, just because it's helped me get into this position where I am today.
Right. Well, and I wanted you to start off with that story because, like, I know your story, right? And so I know that all the different adversity that you had to go through, you know, from being cut to walking your way onto the team to becoming a team captain and being an all-conference player, like that shows how you're able to fight through and get into the position that you're in right now. And I always think that it's important for, you know, people who are listening to this story to kind of hear different stories about people who worked through stuff like that. Now, I know that when you graduated from Central, you had a sport management degree and your plan was always you wanted to be an NFL GM one day. So do you want to go through the process for you about how you went into getting into coaching and into scouting specifically? Because I know it kind of went down a little bit of a windy path. I mean, you can thank 2020 for that, like most people. But I also know like it's a difficult profession to get into. So what do you have to do to navigate that? And how'd you get into the role that you're in now?
Yeah, I mean, when I was at Central, you know, and getting that sports management degree, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to be in the game of football.
Right.
That's it. I just knew that's what I needed to do. You know, so I just I didn't really have a path or just a thought process of it at all, honestly. And then don't know if you remember, but I believe it was 2018 during our season. Maybe it was spring ball. But we had one of the Seahawks player personnel members. They came out to our practice.
Yeah.
You know, they talked to us and everything, and he had a little like seminar that day as well that I went to. Got to meet him and everything, and that's when I really learned about scouting. You know, he great guy, man. That's still my guy to this day and everything. And you know, he taught me a lot about just what the job was and everything. Gave me all the insight and everything. And after talking to him, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. You know, something for me, like, you know, being the undersized player that I was, film study was my niche. You know, like that was my edge, man. That's what I had to do. I was a film junkie, man, all day, all night. That's what I was doing, man. So it just came natural to me, just watching film, and I had a love for watching film, just dissecting, getting everything and stuff. And Coach Cap, he would have us, the DBs, do like little self scout, you know. And then before we play a team, he'd have us scout their players and everything, and each player had a certain position. And you know, he started having us do that, and like it kind of enhanced my game as well.
Right.
You know, so when he gave me I had the quarterbacks, but then at the same time, I started scouting the receivers on my own, scouting the running backs, scouting the online, just all of it, you know, just to help myself and my teammates, you know, for game day and everything. So just watching film is something that, you know, I just always loved doing, and I always was a big fan of. So yeah, after talking to the Seahawks personnel member, he, you know, I just knew this was what I wanted to do. So after the 2019 season, like I told you with that injury and stuff, I wanted to come back and play one more year. But at the same time, I was still in talks with him about potentially getting a position in the NFL as a scout. So I was weighing those options, and I felt it was just right to try to get into that position as soon as I could. You know, so after the season, I had a couple opportunities come up and everything, and you know, I had all my eggs in that one basket. That's all I knew. That's all I wanted to do. You know, I didn't have a plan B. It was all plan A. And then sadly, COVID comes around, you know, and, you know, sadly, I just, they told me with COVID and everything, they couldn't have any new hires. So they couldn't hire me. And so at that point I was like, dang, like, what did I just do again? You know, like, I don't know what I'm about to do now. So I reached back out to Central and was like, hey, like, is there anything I can do with the team? You know, recruit, coach, whatever it is. So at first I just started recruiting, but it was during COVID. And like I said, so I was just at home doing it remote. Back on the west side. So I was recruiting everything, just transfer portal, high school guys, all that kind of stuff. You know, and then I also took a class called the Scouting Academy during that time. which ran by Dan Hatman, great guy. In that class, COVID was a blessing in disguise for me because it gave me the opportunity to take that class before I got into the league.
Yeah.
And, that class really enhanced just my skills of evaluating and scouting and all that kind of stuff.
Is that all online or is that
it's all through online? Yeah. So it's I think it's a 16-week course. Yeah. So it's a long course, man, but when people always reach out to me for advice, I always recommend it, man. I don't think I'd be the scout I am today. I don't think I'd be in position I am today without that class. I always thank Dan Hatman for the opportunity he gave me because he's a great guy too, and he helped me out a lot. But yeah, 16-week course, it just really helps you into the film diving and just evaluating the scouting, what you're looking for, why you're looking for it. Excuse me. And they have guest speakers come on, former NFL executives, all that kind of stuff. So you get really good insight, and it was really good for me in that sense. But yeah, so I took that class. I went back to Central. I started coaching as well. And it was funny just because I was never a coach before I come back, and just during the COVID was a weird year overall, so the coaching staff was short at that time. So I was a full-time, a position coach, not full-time because I wasn't getting paid much, but, I had a whole position room to myself, never coaching before, it was just, it was a tough transition and everything, but I loved it, just anything around the game I loved, but my mind, I loved coaching, but my mind was still in scouting. That was my goal one day. So just throughout that whole time, I was still doing whatever I could to get into the league. And, like you said, just the ways to get in, it's all connections, man, networking, getting your name out there. Cause it's not something you're going to find online. You're not going to find
there's
an
no
application.
LinkedIn for coaching positions.
No Indeed applications. No, nothing like that. So it's all just networking, getting your name out there, meeting people, all that kind of stuff. So, I got some connections and everything who ended up giving me more connections. And, I ended up sending out probably 300 to 400 emails, around the league, just trying to get my foot in the door. At the time, I didn't care if it was scouting or if it was another position in the building, just get in the building, get my foot in the building, and I can make my way over there, so sent all those emails, probably sent 300 emails, and I probably got 250 no replies, and
Sounds about right. Sounds
maybe
about right.
I got 30 replies saying, thanks for reaching out. That's it. And then I got 20 or so replies, actually create a conversation and create connections with, which go a long way. And that's something you gotta keep those connections and keep building on them. So yeah, I just kept those connections and everything. And then I got some great advice about just how to go about it, the timing of when to reach out to guys and all that, when positions open up, all that kind of stuff. So after the draft after the 2021 draft, that's when I mailed in hard copies of my resume, cover letter, scouting reports, all that kind of stuff to the team facilities, just so it'd be in their hands at the right time. I'd be on the top of the deck, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, I mailed those out, and again, just I didn't know what to expect. Kind of mailed them blindly, and then mailed it out. 2 days later, Denver Broncos called me, interested in me, want to do an interview. Want to do an interview tomorrow. I'm like, oh shoot, tomorrow? Okay, let me get my mind right. Start studying up a little bit, and then the next morning I do the interview. I kill it, man. And later that day they offer me the position. And just growing up my whole life in Washington, born and raised out there, went to school out there. Just thinking dang, moving 2,000 miles over to Denver, Colorado. Never been there once in my life. I don't know a single soul out there. It's kind of a scary thought at first. Just not knowing what's going to happen, but it was an opportunity I couldn't turn down, man. So, forever grateful for it, forever blessed for it, man. So just, it was a lot of work, a lot of grinding for it, but very happy to be here.
Yeah, man, dude, that's awesome. So you're talking about sending out those resumes, hard copies. When you're talking about doing all that, do you think actually sending in the hard copy was what puts you over the top? Because most people nowadays, when they're trying to find a job, it's well, I sent an email, or I filled out the questionnaire that I needed. Would you say that's what put you over the top?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was keeping those connections. Because to start out, it was the emails, it was LinkedIn. That's how I got I built those connections, built the networking, all that kind of stuff. And then, but I really do believe that the mailing in those hard copies, I wouldn't say put me over the top, but it put me in a very good position.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, shows that you're willing to work hard. So when you get in to the Broncos organization, right? Were you immediately in the area that you're at now, the Northeast, or were you like an assistant scout? How does that work for people like me who don't know?
Yeah, no, it was a scouting internship. So 4 year scouting there's a bunch of different types of scouting internships. There's there's camp long, so you're just there for training camp. There's season long ones, you're just there for season. But thankfully, I had a full year internship. So it was from July all the way up until the draft. So after that 1 year, I got promoted to my Northeast position. Two very different responsibilities, being an intern and being a Northeast area scout. But the first year was an internship in-house.
So what did that internship look like?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of different stuff. You have your intern duties, just the small work and the tedious work and all that kind of stuff. A lot of airport runs too. I'll drive to the airport. I'm picking up players, driving them back and everything, driving them to their hotels, picking up coaches, all that kind of. Whenever we have a college players coming for top 30 visits, I'll go pick them up, and I'm with them all day, which is pretty cool. Getting to know those guys. Free agents, when we have them come in, I'll go pick them up from the airport. Workouts, I'll go pick up all the workout guys from the airport, driving back and everything. So there's a lot of that going on. So you're kind of getting into the scouting. So I have like non-advances. I have a few teams. I'd be scouting the players on those teams and everything. Scouting a bunch of free agents for college, that kind of stuff. And you don't have one specific duty like I do now, but it's just a bunch of different parts just to help out in any way you can. I mean, shoot, I was even at practice. I was catching punts.
That's awesome.
Man, I was never a punt returner, man. What am I doing out there? But it was, catching punts. I'm lining up on scout team during walkthroughs and stuff. I'm catching passes at practice. Just literally anything and everything you can do for the organization in the building, you're doing it, man.
Dude, that's awesome. So now that you've transitioned over to being the Northeast scout, right? Like we moved over, you've gotten your promotion. How does that work? Because you live in Denver. So how does that work for you? Are you just watching games, or do you get to go out there? How do you balance if you are going out there? Where to pick, where to go, who to watch, kind of deal?
Yeah, so I cover the Northeast area of the United States. So I got 13 states out there, everything from West Virginia, DC, Maryland, Pennsylvania, everything north of that too.
All
the way up to Maine. So every school in those states, I'm responsible for, and I cover all those schools and everything. So, they let me make my own schedule. So I know the schools I have to go to. I know the players I have to go see. I just have to make it work, So it's a lot of travel, man, especially living out in Denver. So it's a lot of days out on the road. I think my first trip this year in August, I was out on the road for 21 days straight, just going school to school to school, man, just scouting.
Staying at Marriott's.
Oh, my Marriott points right now are through the roof, man. But it is when I do come home for the weekend stuff, I'm scouting from home too. I'm watching the film and everything. So a little bit of both. It is a lot of travel. A lot of people do live in their area. Right. It gives you some more days at home and stuff because you live by some of the schools and everything. But still, regardless, a lot of driving. A lot of flights, a lot of airports, a lot of hotels, like you just said, man. So, a little bit of both because when you're at home, you're still doing work here too.
Right. You can't take time off anywhere. No. When you are deciding to go on those trips, are you ever looking at it like, well, I need to see those two guys, and that's a pretty good matchup. Like,
100%. Yeah. Like, I have my small school. I have my FCS D2 schools, that kind of thing too. Last year I had 2 very good FCS players, and they were playing each other, and I was like, this is the game I have to go to.
It's going to be a sweet matchup.
It's going to be a sweet matchup. I love going to my big school games too, Maryland and Penn State, Pitt, all those type of games, just great atmospheres, great environments. I just love being in that, just that environment, But yeah, man, just when I'm looking through the games, it's, where are the players going to be playing at? Who are they playing against? That kind of thing. And want to get the best exposures that I can to these guys.
Right. Are you ever doing multiple games in a day?
I haven't, no. Just because, most of the games, they're usually around the same time. Be tough to get to there, multiple in one day. I do multiple school visits in one day though. Pro days, I'll be at multiple pro days in one day, but games usually is just one game per day for me.
One game per day. When you are going through that process of like in the season scouting, right? Are you talking to any of like, are you just trusting what your eyes are seeing? Are you talking with other scouts, or is that something where it's just like, hey, I go in, I see what I need to see, I write my notes down, I have my thought process on this player. If I see something that I didn't see before, I add it in. Otherwise, I kind of stay to myself. How are you like going through on that?
Yeah, I mean, being out on the road, you're out on these school visits, and there's other scouts there as well. You hear what like other people think of certain guys and everything,
Right.
but at the end of the day, you have to trust your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line for me. Something too, like when I watch a player, in that first grade that I stamp on him, there's a reason that I put him right there.
Right.
It's what I saw in that moment. It's what I felt in that moment and everything. So like, yeah, throughout, it's a long process, man, from August all the way until the draft, so like it's going to waver. It is going to waver. But at the same time though, it's, you don't want to get too far from where you originally had it, because you had him there for a reason and everything. So you do hear a lot of things, but you can't let it get to your head too much, which can be tough sometimes because, like you think something on one player and then everyone else is saying something else. And you're like, dang, am I messed up here? Am I not seeing it right? You go back, you watch extra tape and everything. And, but at the end of the day, man, you trust what you see, you trust your eyes, you trust your abilities. And, because you're a scout for a reason, you're with your organization for a reason. They want your opinion. They trust your opinion. And that's why you're here.
Right. That's awesome. I love getting into like the scouting and stuff of it, especially this time of year. Like this is prime time draft season for us, but you've been scouting these guys since August, or are like when you're going through it and you're visiting different schools, you're watching different tape, different games. Are you ever looking at someone and like, hey, he's 19 right now, but I'm going to need him on my radar. So I'm already starting some preliminary stuff, or is it right away? Like August hits, these are the guys who are draft eligible, and I got to make sure that I'm paying attention to those guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying attention to your draft eligible guys, but at the same time, man, you have that freshman that's popping on tape, man. You're like, I can't wait for him to be eligible, man, so I can really dive into him. So I'm not writing reports on those guys and everything, but it's hard not to notice them, because they're. It's a lot of good football around the country. It's hard not to notice those guys, and it's really exciting to see those guys and everything. But yeah, man, you gotta stay focused on the guys that are coming out now. Because that's, like I said, it's a long process, man. It's just a lot to dive into. So you can't veer away from that. You can't get too distracted. So gotta stay focused on the guys that are coming out.
Awesome. You're in the thick of it right now. Obviously, what's your day look like?
Yeah, I mean, days right now the day right now is very different than August. Like the season, it's its own schedule, and then January to February it's its own schedule, and then March. So like right now in March is pro days. So I'm heading back out for pro days tomorrow. And for people that don't know what pro days are, it's kind of like a combine for that specific school.
Right.
So you go to the school and they're running the 40s. They're doing their jumps, the short shuttle, 3-cone, all that kind of stuff. You're running them through position drills. So you're going out there for that. You've already written your players. Your players, but it's just good to get that last live exposure on them. Dive into anything else that you need to get, the tiny details that you still need to get and everything. At the same time, you're still watching tape on these guys. The tape never stops. Excuse me, even now, like there's guys that are always popping up that you didn't know about during the season. So guys pop up that freaky test numbers on pro day. You're like, who's this guy? And then he's coming out, so you got to crack the tape on, dive into it and figure them out too. So yeah, right now is very different than in the season, in the January, February time as well. But that's what it is for right now.
Is it a full grind and then you get a vacation like right after the draft, or is it right back up? The hamster wheel starts turning.
Yeah, I mean, after the draft, we start working on next year. So after the draft, I'll have my 2025 guys, and I'll just get my quick like summer reports in on them. Just not going too deep on them, but just so you can have a baseline for them when you do start to go out to schools in August. So pretty much May, some of June, I'm doing that kind of stuff, and then like July, you kind of technically have off, but at the same time, you kind of want to get ahead,
Right,
so
right.
it's tough to like ever actually get like fully away from it.
Mhm.
It's good to sometimes to just get your mind off and everything, but at the same time, you always want to be prepared going into the season for what you're looking at.
That's awesome. Yeah. What was your like, oh my God, I'm in the NFL moment? Like, pinch me. This is real.
Man, um, I don't know. I've had a few actually. I don't know. It probably was just my first day in the building.
Yeah.
So when I got hired, I went out there for rookie mini camp.
Mhm.
It was just mini camp during July or June. Sorry. And just I went to a D3 school and then a D2 school. And then I next thing you know, I'm in this NFL building. And
Mhm.
this is the greatest facility I've seen in my life. And just walking around seeing these people that are established and being around all the NFL players and everything. So that first day, like it took me a second. I really had to take it in and everything, man. It was unbelievable. I was so blessed, man. It was just there was a little shock at first, just
Right.
where I came from and everything, never being in that situation and just knowing that this is what I've always dreamed of.
Mhm.
But at the same time, man, you gotta put that away real quick, because it's time to get to work.
So you're telling me you never had that like, hi sir, nice to meet you. When you go up to a
No, man,
famous
I don't really get like I don't get shocked like that, to be honest, like with celebrities or high profile athletes or high profile like executives, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all people, man.
Right.
We're all football people too.
Mhm.
That's the thing, man. So I don't really get like that, but it was just just that first day in the building, just really like having it sink in. Like I'm here right now. This is what I've dreamed of, and I gotta attack this.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, you can't be too nervous, especially since you're going to be one of those high profile people soon. Shoot, you might
Appreciate
already
that, man.
be. Hey, depending on some of those kids in the Northeast, they're like, hey, Scout McKenzie's out here. Like, go ball out. Got to go ball out. Hopefully this doesn't get you into trouble, but I have to ask, where's your favorite spot to go in the Northeast for scouting? Like, where is your favorite, like, oh, sweet, I got to go to Pennsylvania right now. Like, I'm going to get to go and get like some crazy Pennsylvania food, or like, hey, there's this great like coffee shop at, right next to this stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the spot? Where's the state where you're like, you know what? If I ever did move out east, like maybe I'll end up living here. I love the scenery. It's beautiful. Where you going?
I'm a big foodie,
Okay.
love
Yeah.
my food. The seafood out in Boston, man,
At the
it's
Habe?
unreal. It's unreal, man. I mean,
Yeah.
shoot, I've been up in Maine too. The lobster out in Maine, that's real. That's real out there. The Philly cheesesteaks. So you got to be careful out on the road, man. Just getting, putting a few too many pounds on and everything. But I mean, I don't necessarily I know that's probably not the answer you want. I don't necessarily have a specific favorite, because
Really?
everything is different,
Mhm.
and just me, like I'd never been to the Northeast before I had
Mhm.
this position. So just to see all these cool places, see all these top-notch facilities, eat all that good food and everything too,
Mhm.
man. Like I don't necessarily have a favorite, man. There's something specific and different about each and every one, that I do enjoy.
That ends up working. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
do appreciate that you gave me the like, I don't have a favorite child answer. Like they're all my favorite. I love all 13 of my children. I had to throw it out there though, because
Yeah, of
we're the
course.
same. We're Washington guys, stayed in Washington
Yeah.
the whole way through. It's like, man, I would like to get out to the Northeast. Like, gotta
Mhm.
ask the questions. Like, do I
No, I get it.
get clam chowder? Do I need to go get a real Philly
Yeah.
cheesesteak? Is there something
I
going
mean,
on?
DC and Maryland, it's beautiful out there. New York's a good time, man.
There you go.
Shoot, like even driving through West Virginia, dude, like just the mountains out there and everything, and just getting on campus out there is just
Mhm.
in my small schools too. Like I got small schools that are just beautiful campuses. It's just you meet great people. They're in great cities, all that kind of stuff, man. So can't pick a specific one.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I had to throw it out there, had to ask. Kind of last one as we're wrapping it up. Obviously, we're getting into draft season here. Without going into too much detail, don't want to get you into trouble. What's your draft day look like? Are you up for 72 hours straight as you go through day 1, day 2, day 3 of the draft? Are you getting like Are you getting some rest? How's that working for you?
Yeah, we're not there all day, like throughout the night and everything, you know, because at that point, like all the work's done, you know,
Right.
all the work is done on draft day. You know, and the thing with the draft is like you never know what's going to happen, you know, so like it's all the work you can do is done. You have to see how things fall out. So yeah, I mean, like after the first day and everything, you have your conversations about how day 2 is going to go, who's already off the board, who's still on the board, that kind of thing. But you know, it's you can't really predict what's going to happen, you know. So like it's just when the draft is going, that's when all the decisions are being made, and like the hecticness really happens and everything. But like when it's not going on, there's not too much you can do. You can like I said, after day 1, you're all right, who's still here for day 2? Who do we like? That kind of thing. After day 2, all right, who's still on the board now? Who's already off the board? What do we need? What do we already have? That kind of stuff.
Is that the closest to running out the tunnel for you?
What do you mean?
Like whenever I ran out the tunnel, Pop Warner, middle school, high school, college, you get that jittery feeling. And I've said it before, and it's probably why some people are now my exes and not still in my life anymore. But it's the best feeling that I've felt so far in my life. Like when I get ready to come out of that tunnel, that anxiousness, the nervousness, but then mixtured with like I get to go and play football, this game that I love, that fire, that energy, that excitement. There's something special about it. Are you getting more of that when you go into that draft day war room? Is it close? Is it the same? How's that feel for you?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I think my like running out the tunnel is our draft meetings when I'm presenting my players, because it's like this is all the work I've been putting in for all these months since August and stuff. Now I finally get to put it on the table, speak my part, say what I see, how I feel about these guys and everything, why I want them in our organization, in our building, all that kind of stuff. So that's more of like my game day kind of thing, you know. You know, because once draft day comes, you know, like I said, all the work's done, and everything. Don't get it wrong. It's a very cool. My first draft, man, it was such a cool moment for me. It was a real experience, just to be in that room and just be a part of it and everything, man. But you know, there's a lot of still excitement for me in all aspects with going out to schools, you know, and meeting all these people out there and, you know, presenting and drafting. He's going to all-star games, pro days, you know, just every I don't know, for me, still every aspect of this job just still gives me that excitement and everything all around.
That's awesome, man. Chaz, I'm proud of you, man. I love playing with you. You were one of the best captains I ever played with. See, I'm going to do the same thing you did. I'm not going to say you were the best. I'm going to say you were my favorite.
No, we had some good ones, man. So no, I appreciate that. That really does mean a lot to me.
It's like I gotta do the kid thing. I love all my kids equally. I love all my captains equally. But Chaz, thank you so much for coming on, man. Anyone listening, definitely go and watch some extra Broncos games this year. Chaz is a fantastic person, and I know he's a fantastic scout, getting the best players over there in the organization. Want to thank the Couch GM again, Connor. Thank you so much for being on the network. Thank you to the sponsor, Black Label. Love their workout supplements. In fact, after we log off, I'm gonna go get a post-hustle shake.
There we go.
Look, dude, it was leg day today. I got to have 2 protein shakes on leg day. Got to get that boost. Got to make sure that I'm hitting all the new maxes, the new PRs. So I love Black Label. Thank you so much for the sponsor. As always, thank you guys for listening, and make sure to tune in next time.
Oh, look at this run. What a run. Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.